is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
The vice president is back home in his home state. Mike Pence arriving here as critics question the Trump administration's frequently changing response to COVID-19. Coming up, a live report with more on why the VP is in town this afternoon. But first, we got to get a check of our forecast, and we want to thank you for joining us on the News at Noon. I'm Lauren Casey with Todd Clausen standing by from home this midday. And Todd, we had great weather yesterday. We were saying this morning is pretty comfortable, and some pretty good news as we're heading into the weekend finally.
Yeah, you know, it's absolutely beautiful even out there at this noon hour, Lauren. I was just outside shooting a video that I'm going to put on the web here shortly, and I kind of wanted to stay in my backyard and not come down into my basement. But plenty of opportunity to get out and about here this afternoon and into the evening hours. Temperatures, look at this at the noon hour, right at 80 degrees in Indy, 79 in Martinsville, 78 in Peru, as well as Greenfield. The humidity today is low, and there's a nice gentle breeze out there as well. Some action on the track, as you see there in Speedway. These are the Ferrari cars taking laps around IMS, and what a great day for those guys out there and anywhere across central Indiana. You can see the sun shining on the front stretch there. Now, there's a few clouds up towards the Fort Wayne area drifting in off of Lake Michigan, and that is just about it. And we'll have those puffy cumulus clouds at times this afternoon, but we are not expecting any rain in the forecast for the day today. Temperatures will climb up to about 83 to 85 degrees this afternoon, so it's very, very comfortable. And then once the sun sets this evening, we'll cool off into the 70s, making for a very nice Friday night. We'll talk more about the weekend forecast for you coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Well, he is back home to talk about the need for schools to open back up despite the COVID-19 pandemic. In less than 2 hours from now, Vice President Mike Pence will lead a panel discussion right here in Indianapolis on that very topic. And our own Megan Sanctorum is live this midday right outside Marian University. That's the site of this panel discussion involving the Vice President today. Megan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Lauren. Yeah, we are right across the street from Marian University, where the roundtable on reopening schools, led by Vice President Pence, is scheduled to start at 1:30 this afternoon. Pence was named leader of President Trump's White House Coronavirus Task Force back in March when it was created. He and the White House have faced criticism for pushing both K-12 schools and college campuses to reopen for in-person instruction, despite the rising number of COVID cases across the country. But Pence himself has repeatedly said he would not hesitate to send his own children to school. We do not know who else will be part of this roundtable discussion today. However, Pence and the president of Marian University here, Dan Elsner, have long been allies, going back to Pence's term as governor and Elsner's tenure on the State Board of Education. Now, we do know a group of protesters is scheduled to meet outside of the State House. We'll have more on that coming up tonight at 5 and 6. You can, of course, watch the roundtable live on our Facebook or our website, theindychannel.com. Reporting live, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
Megan, thank you. The Vice President is in Indiana on the day that a state set another record for the COVID-19 cases reported in a single day. The state health department says that 1,011 new cases of the coronavirus were reported today. It's the first time since the pandemic began that the state has broken that 1,000 number of cases reported in just a single day. It also pushes Indiana past 60,000 infections total since the pandemic began. 4 new deaths were also reported in our state. We do have some good news to share, though. More than half the state's intensive care beds are open right now, and that number of people being treated in the hospital for COVID-19 is down slightly. Well, the rise in COVID-19 cases is forcing Indianapolis and Marion County to roll back its reopening plans. Starting today, bars and nightclubs that don't serve food will have to shut down for at least a few days through August 12th. Restaurants cannot seat guests at the bar and can only operate at 50% capacity. Churches can hold indoor services at 50% capacity. Gyms must restrict capacity down to 25%, and social events are limited to 50 people. Hair and nail salons and also spas will be by appointment only. Those who work in restaurants along Mass Ave quickly started getting ready for the changes.
Moving forward, it's going to be a little bit harder because people are more and more used now to coming out, and they've been used to being able to have a little bit more inside, and we're going to have to backtrack it a little bit.
The rate of positive COVID-19 cases in Marion County has jumped nearly 50% in just the last week. Those rates are especially hitting young adults between 18 and 30 who tend to congregate in gyms, bars, and other indoor facilities. Also, under the new mandate, Marion County schools will not be allowed to open for in-person instruction until at least August 5th. Most of the country's school districts were already planning to keep students at home. Pike Township schools now say that their school year will start with virtual classes only on August 11th. Pike joins Washington Township schools in offering only online classes to begin the school year. IPS, Wayne Township, and Lawrence Township schools have also pushed back their first days of school. We do have a list of school districts and their opening plans. It's updated daily as those districts make their decisions. You can find that full list right now at theindychannel.com. So Indiana's statewide mask mandate takes effect on Monday, but the state's attorney general is raising questions not about the masks or the face coverings, but whether or not the governor has the right to impose that mandate. Curtis Hill spoke to our Rafael Sanchez on Good Morning Indiana.
What happens come Monday? Because people are going to be somewhat confused. They've read your 6-page advisory. What do I do? Because I don't want to be in violation of the law.
Well, that's a very good question. The reason that we got involved is because members of the General Assembly, they themselves were confused about what was going forward. And so they contacted me and asked if we could weigh in. We have made the suggestion or recommendation as to the appropriate step. Keep in mind, Rafael, we did not say that we're for masks or against masks or that it was a bad idea, good idea. This is about the process so that the public can have faith and confidence in the process. So in our estimation, if there is a desire to create a statewide mandate regarding masks or any other matter that would impose criminal penalties or criminal sanctions, the best path forward to provide public confidence is that process go through the ordinary legislative process that provides public notification, provides opportunity for debate, and first and foremost, provides accountability for the decision making.
The Attorney General's advisory is an opinion that the governor can ignore, but someone could use the advisory to file a legal challenge. When it comes to any possible lawsuit, the governor says, quote, "I don't live under the threat of a lawsuit. We do our research before we speak," end quote. To encourage more people to mask up around the city, Indianapolis is partnering with the Arts Council for a new social awareness campaign. A flower placed as a symbol of hope for growth, cardinals for Hoosier roots, even a masked hot air balloon for a slight bit of humor. The Indianapolis artist William Denton Ray's depiction of our society. He's one of 6 artists taking part in the city's initiative. It's called #MaskUpIndy.
The color of the art that I did is kind of happy and vibrant and hopeful. And the idea of that is to try to, make people hopeful that we can get past this by just simply wearing a mask.
The Mask Up Indy campaign is funded by $20,000 in federal CARES Act money. To find out how to get one of those posters for your own business, you can go to our website, theindychannel.com. Well, they are hitting the road to keep the story of the Delphi daughters from being forgotten. Next, we'll show you how you can be part of a fundraiser for an important construction project in memory of those 2 girls. Todd.
And Lauren, a beautiful day in progress here across central Indiana. Low humidity, lots of sunshine, and very seasonable temperatures, sitting right at 80 degrees in Indianapolis. But you look off to the west and you do notice temperatures are a little bit warmer. Well, that is heading in our direction. We'll talk about how hot it's going to get in your weekend forecast coming up when the news at noon continues right here on RTV6.
Welcome back. A big turnout is expected for an annual ride to benefit a memorial park for 2 girls who were killed in Delphi. The Kitlian has been working on raffle baskets for this annual event. The proceeds from that and the 4th annual bike ride raised dollars for the Abby Williams and Libby German Memorial Park up in Carroll County. Those girls were killed back in February of 2017, and despite the international attention, there have been no arrests. The ride hopes to remind people to not give up.
Until they find the person that actually committed this crime, I'd like to stay with the ride to help them with the memorial park.
Well, you can still participate in this event. It is tomorrow at the Kitlian, located on 825 South Kitley Avenue. The registration is at 9 o'clock. The ride begins at noon. It's $25 per person or $35 for a couple. For more information, you can call 317-357-3160. Well, it's one of the most trying times ever for businesses. Next, the story of one restaurant and how its owners are desperately trying to stay open even as the pandemic gets worse. And it's been on TV and a lot over the past 6 months, but not like this. You'll see the doctors attempt to fire one home, an example of what that first pitch should look like. Now let's take a live look outside right now. Beautiful Friday forecast for you as you get ready to kick off a great weekend here across the Hoosier State. We'll get a full forecast update from our Todd Clausen coming up on the other side of the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news at noon. So we know that during this pandemic, finding a job, it can seem like an impossible task, right? So RTV6 and the Indiana Black Expo, we are teaming up together to bring you the virtual Hiring Hoosiers Employment Opportunity Fair. This fair is set for next Thursday, July 30th. It runs from noon until 4 p.m. There's going to be a number of quality employers coming together to help you take those next steps in your career. There are immediate job openings ready for you right now. You can get connected by visiting IndianaBlackExpo.com. An Indianapolis business is struggling to keep its doors open because of the coronavirus pandemic and all the shutdowns. And RTV6's Cameron Riddle shows you that the owners of Stacy and Rick's Soul Food restaurant say it's going to take more than customers to keep this small Black-owned business from shutting down.
The coronavirus pandemic has had an impact on everyone, but that impact continues to be devastating for small business owners like Ricky Fowler, the owner of Stacy and Rick's Soul Food, where sales are down by 50%.
It's been a lot of stress amongst me and my kids because a lot of things they were used to getting, we're not able to do anymore.
Stacy and Rick's has been on the corner of 34th and Sherman for 11 years, but their doors have been closed since the spring. Fowler says the shutdown dug his business into such a deep hole, he doesn't know how much longer it'll be until the doors are closed for good.
It's hard to say. It could be in the morning. If I don't get any help from the 3 months that I lost, then yeah, that's probably what's going to happen.
To make matters worse, Fowler is in a high-risk category for COVID-19. It's the reason he's kept the restaurant closed up until 2 weeks ago.
I'm diabetic, high blood pressure, and African American.
Fowler says he was forced to come back to work to support his family of 5 and his 6 employees. He says he's been denied every loan or grant he's applied for.
They promised that once we closed down that we were getting the unforgiven loans, which I never received. I actually even talked to someone at Governor Holcomb's office, and they said the money was in the pipeline. Where is the end of the pipeline?
Fowler is now depending on his customers to keep the doors open. He says even with a steady stream of customers, it's going to take something more to save his business.
The customers are coming in, but it still can't make up for that loss. You know, it's a big hole. It's a big hole.
In Indianapolis, Cameron Riddle, RTV6.
Well, Fowler says that part of the issue that he has been given is not given clear reasons as to why his requests for assistance keep getting denied. Cameron, thank you for that story. Well, it can be a chance to shine or it can be a little bit embarrassing when you're chosen to throw out a ceremonial first pitch at a baseball game. Your arm is on display for everyone there to see. For the nation's top expert on the coronavirus, his first pitch might be one that he'd like to have back. Yesterday, Dr. Anthony Fauci threw out the first pitch for his favorite team, the Washington Nationals. As you may have seen, his pitch was just a bit outside. There's no shame in that. It's happened to a lot of people. But you know who it didn't happen to, Todd? Take a look here. This was 4 years ago at Victory Field. Check it out. Right down the middle. Oh, right to home plate. Yeah, that's me. Didn't play sports, but I practiced a whole lot for that because I did not want to be embarrassed, and I didn't embarrass myself. So I was pretty proud of that moment. Taking on Dr. Anthony Fauci 4 years ago.
Yeah, looked like a strike to me, Lauren.
Thank you.
Dropped it in right there, right over the plate.
It was a big moment.
Even Rowdy there, Rowdy was liking it too.
Yes.
He ducked and then he gave you the big way to go sign.
It could have gone totally different though. You just could have done a wild pitch. Right. very unpredictable. So I was in dance since I was 4, and that's all I got to say.
Now that you have Archie, you'll be working out that arm a lot here, I think,
yeah.
in the coming years. So I've seen him throwing those toys around, so you're in for it. But all right, it's a beautiful day to be outside, whether you're playing baseball in the neighborhood with the kids, just throwing the ball around with your best friend, or going for a walk or a bike ride. Tip-top shape here this afternoon. Temperatures are currently sitting in the 80s in many locations, 70s in some. Bloomington, just a few fair weather clouds, as you see here. Absolutely beautiful all across the area. 81 in Lafayette, 78 in Tipton, 82 in Bloomington, and right at 80 degrees here in Indianapolis. Temperatures going to go up another couple degrees here this afternoon for highs that are going to level off anywhere from about 82 to 86 degrees for you for your afternoon highs. Our average high this time of year is 85, so it is a seasonable day. Humidity not too much of a factor in the forecast for the day today. That is the good news, although it will start to creep up a little bit tonight and then into the weekend. Your satellite radar picture is pretty quiet all across the area. High pressure is firmly in control. That'll suppress all the rain off to our south and east and off to our west as well. So not a drop of rain in the forecast today, even though the clouds will start to build a little bit here this afternoon. The humidity, again, it's less humid than it has been. You noticed that change occur yesterday afternoon and into the evening hours, and even overnight, humidity levels are going to stay pretty steady, and that's going to make for a very nice Friday night forecast. If you do have plans, maybe dinner on a patio somewhere, or maybe you're just grilling in your backyard and hanging out with the family, you're just fine. Sunset is at 9:05. Once the sun sets, we'll see the temperatures fall back down into the 70s, so it does cool off pretty quickly here tonight, and then tomorrow morning you're waking to temperatures that will be in the 60s. Looking ahead, Saturday mostly sunny, a high of 88 degrees. Should be a great day tomorrow. Humidity comes up just a little bit as we fast forward into Sunday, up to 91. So we get back into the 90s most likely on Sunday. It becomes more humid as well, and there could be a storm in the forecast late in the day. The better chance of storms, though, will be on Monday. That's when the cold front comes through, and as that cold front comes through, we'll have, I think, quite a few storms across the area. A little too early to tell how strong they would be, though. Sunday's heat index value is probably going to get up to around 96 to maybe 98 degrees, so it's a hot one across the area. And despite the rain that we had this week, which was pretty spotty in nature, the drought monitor came out yesterday, and you see parts of Bloomington, and then from Peru over into Marion and even into the Muncie area under the moderate drought. The rest of central Indiana, for the most part, is abnormally dry. So Monday's the next best chance of any widespread rain for us. A few storms could linger into Tuesday as well, Lauren. And then as we wrap up the last couple days of July next week, temperatures going to be in the low 80s. So it's going to be pretty nice. But let's enjoy today and the weekend and the nice weather that we'll all enjoy.
All right, that sounds good, Todd. Thank you so much. We do have a programming note for you if you're a Dish Network customer. Our parent company, Scripps and Dish, they're currently in contract negotiations. So the station may go dark tonight if an agreement is not reached in time. So if you're a Dish customer, you can call Dish and express your concern. And if this channel does go dark, you can always find us at theindychannel.com. We'll have more news and another Check Your Forecast coming up just after the break. Well, it started out as cordial, but the podcast and YouTube show hosted by retired Colts punter Pat McAfee was anything but that by the end. This week, McAfee was interviewing pro wrestling star Adam Cole at his Indianapolis studio. Things were okay until McAfee suggested that his success in WWE was tied to help from other wrestlers, and it went off the rails from there.
Did it all by myself.
No. Don't believe that. We watched the takeovers, Adam. The Undisputed Era is the main reason why you've succeeded. But by the way, smart. That's good business. Hey, that's business, baby. That's very smart business. Oh, and especially for you, because, you know, you're kind of small.
Oh, we're going to go with the size thing now.
You, Pat. Seriously, I'm sick of your I come the whole way here, take time away from my family to come to do your stupid show.
Well, McAfee says this beef was real, and he says Cole will never be invited back on his show, especially after the shove there to one of his producers. Gee, Todd, I know he's talking to a wrestler. Can't imagine why someone would think that that was staged in advance.
All right.
I don't know.
McAfee still stirring the pot a little bit.
Stirring the pot as always.
All right. Outside, Lauren, it's beautiful right now. It'll be nice through the weekend, a little warmer over the weekend, highs around 90 degrees. The humidity comes up as well, but no threat of rain until late in the day on Sunday.
All right, Todd, thank you. And thank you for joining us and making RTV6 your choice for news. We hope you have a great weekend.